What's up, everybody? Pal 702 back with my final 2018 best of review. We're doing single coils today, guys, but we're doing the high-end single coils, the sought after, the hard to get, the more, the expensive, if you're into high-end singles, you're kind of sick. I admit I'm a high-end single lover. Admitting it is the first step. But you guys know high-end single coils, either you get it or you don't get it. Either you love the chase, the pursuit of hearing about RDA and then all the different fucking loopholes you have to drop through to get it. And the thing about high-end is they don't give a fuck if you're a reviewer. They don't give a fuck if you're who you are. They will just tell you, take a number and get your ass in line. And I think that is pretty badass. Also, another reason why I love high-end is typically they're smaller modders. They're like mom and pop. They have a much smaller budget. They do smaller batches, 100, 500, 1,000, 2,000. And these guys are literally, this is their passion, the attention to detail, the build quality. These are all things that if you're in a high end, those are things that you love. Just simple little things they do with the airflow, machining their own screws. It's really up until 2018, up until this year, it was hard to find single coils that weren't high end that were really awesome. This year, mainstream single coils caught on to directional airflow and how to make it so it doesn't leak but still gives you good flavor. There's a lot of single coils that copied off high-end decks. That being said, there is no substitute if you are into high-end for a beautifully machined dripper that you've put months into either saving up for or trying to make the list or whatever it might be. So before we get into this list, I have a disclaimer to make, so you guys don't start throwing shit at the TV or the phone or the tablet. There's two drippers that I have that I've been vaping for about a month that are not on this list, but I'm just gonna attach them to this list, but I'm not gonna give any reason why. My review will be coming out on both of these beginning of 2019, and that is the SKFALL by ESG, and that is the MAVERICK by Hellfire. Those are two single coils from 2018 that I didn't get until later in 2018. I did not want to rush the review, but I'm just going to put those right now on this list. So this is technically a list of 5. But that being said, hit it. First up, we have the VENA RDA by Haku. The VENA is basically the 1.5 of the Haku that took the world by storm last year. Obviously, the Haku, the OG Haku, is on my Mount Rushmore, which is my top 4 of all time. Sitting on top of the Vishsan Spade DNA 75C 21700, I got my VENA with a purple Never Normal cap that I bought from the Never Normal dude, I forget his name, at Las Vegas Expo, with a D Mods drip tip. Let's take it for a rip. Crooks in there, by the way. So what made the VENA so fucking awesome? If you watched my review, I showed you in the review, the decks are identical. To me, it's like the 1.5 of the Haku. All they did is they took the airflow down by about 1/3. They used, a tiny airflow hole at the top and then a bigger one at the bottom, where the Haku just had that kind of a oval shaped airflow, and it really cut it down. This is about as restrictive as I like to go on single coils, and usually if you're building on mechanical, 0.3 to 0.35. On regulated, I have this at 45 watts, and the airflow is very quiet. It's very smooth. The flavor, it's like the Haku. I can run a little bit bigger of a build in, so I don't know if that give me a little bit more flavor from it. But there are a ton of people, I preferred the Haku over the VENA slightly, but there are a ton of people out there that are the opposite. They preferred the Vena over the Haku for the reason being of the airflow being more restrictive, more dialed in.
I mean, it just vapes fucking awesome. It just...
I mean, one pointer I will give you, just like in the Haku, slam that coil down to the deck. Where the coiling jig is on this thing, you know, you're pretty much, you could put it right in there and still get really good flavor. But if you can just take like an Allen key or take like your tweezers like that, you know, and put them inside your coil and just push it down a little bit further, when you get it towards the bottom of that deck, you get a whole nother world of flavor that opens up to you. And plus, like, this cap isn't as slammed down as the original cap it came with. The cap's like really slammed compared to the OG Haku. This looks more like the OG Haku, but it's just, it looks much better. Like aesthetically, it looks a lot better than the Haku, and it's just the flavor, the airflow. It's just a very minimalistic design on the deck. You know, it's just your coils going one way, very basic, very beautifully machined. So shout out to you, Mr. Steve Hassani, I believe, in Haku Engineering, for making a badass stripper and one of my favorites of 2018. Next up, we have the Legacy by Hussar Vapes out of Poland. So, as you guys can see, I have the monolith cap on top of the Hussar Legacy, and it is sitting on top of the Mod Dog Pulsar, which I have not reviewed yet. Let's take it for a rip. Yeah. Yeah. All right, so what did I love about the Legacy? First and foremost, if you guys watched my review, I love the customer service. I originally had an issue with it, and Matthias is his name. I believe he's the owner of Hussar Vapes. He contacted me within 24 hours. I never knew him. He didn't know who the fuck I was. I didn't know who the fuck he was. Within 24 hours, he had contacted me, and within a week, he had sent out a replacement cap, and then he sent out the blackout cap, which is like a $75 top cap, and our beauty ring. Customer service, first of all. Second thing, I'm not even getting to the RDA yet. Second thing is that Hussar always comes with like really badass packaging. It's always a vape stand. There's always a vape stand involved with the V1, at least with our RDA's. I don't know about their RTA's, but the V1 is on my Mount Rushmore. The only reason this wasn't on my Mount Rushmore is because it vapes very similar to the Haku. You know, we're in a theme here, Vena, Haku. I mean, the way that this is a little bit different though. The machining on this is phenomenal. It actually utilizes juice wells, which a lot of high-end stuff doesn't utilize juice wells. The juice wells are very deep in this, and it squonks in the bottom of the juice well, so it actually relies on capillary action. A lot of high-end squonkers, you know, they squonk, the pin is right underneath your coil, which I do like, and it, you know, the squonk rolls over your coil. And that sometimes, you know, allows you to get a little bit more spit back and stuff like that, which can be a good thing to some and a bad thing to others. The thing about this Legacy is it very rarely ever gives spit back. So if you're someone who does not like spit back, the way that it uses capillary action to draw from the juice wells and bring it up to the coil, I think that has something to do with it. I know build has a lot to do with it, but I don't build this any differently than I build some of my other ones that give me spit back. But the vape that this thing gives, it's a bigger vape for a high-end single. The airflow on this is really big. It does come with a chamber reducer, which I showed in the review. You know, I have the Ultim monolith cap, and then the blackout cap right there, and the stock cap looks like that right there. So lots of accessories readily available. This one this is pretty easy to find actually. Like I've seen it on Vapinard, Vapes by Nushi. I've seen it on Stratum. I actually bought this from Stratum at the Las Vegas Expo November 9th. It's just, the flavor on this is badass. The airflow, it's bigger than the Vena. So it's like medium airflow. You know, so if you don't like such a restrictive, this is kind of in the middle. It can take, you know, a lot more power than other ones. So if you like, if you're kind of the in-betweener, you're not super restrictive and you don't like wide open, this guy right here has fantastic flavor. It's right up there. And smooth airflow. There is zero spit back with this. I believe that's because of the capillary action, and the build quality is phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. So shout out to you, Mr. Hussar Vapes. I think your name is Matthias, for making one of my favorite RDA'S of 2018, and that would be the Legacy by Hussar Vapes. Mod Dog review coming soon. Last but certainly not least, you have the Jenna RDA by Mr. J Hayes himself and Raven's Moon. So I still have the Jenna sitting on the original mod that I reviewed it on. It has not came off this, so I guess that's about a month and a half now that this thing has stayed on this Vicious Ant mechanical 21700 spade. Let's take it for a rip.
Holy shit.
All right, so what did I love about the Jenna? First of all, machining is top notch. Excellent machining, USA made. This is a single for the dude that wants his singles to vape like dual coils. It has big air. It handles massive builds, like very low builds. Like I build this thing, this is the only single that this and the B2K are really the only singles that I'll build below a 0.2. Like this build I think is like a 0.18, right around there, but this thing will handle a ton of power. It does not get hot. This barrel will not get hot. I don't have any other RDA that you can run as low of a build in that doesn't, it never gets hot. The AFC on this thing, being able to adjust it with this Delrin drip tip is fucking awesome. The way that he used that ultimate, you know, it's really a diverter. It's like an air diverter. The way that he utilized that, you know, for, you have an open one if you want a little bit of spit back and if you want to drip directly on your coil, and then you have a closed off one if you're, you know, it closes off a side, it restricts it a little bit more and it gives you zero spit back. But the Jenna is a fucking awesome single coil RDA. Big airflow, big flavor, beautifully machined. This knocked the B2K off my list, off my Mount Rushmore, because of its ability to handle very large builds. It's super easy to build. It never leaks. It's not gonna leak. Airflow setup's super high. It's just all one big massive juice well, and the flavor on this is fantastic. So you, Mr. J Hayes, and Brandon over at Raven's Mood, this fucking single coil is badass, and you guys did a fantastic job. And I obviously love to vape this thing because it has not came off my spade, which I used to test out a ton of single coils. I just left this on there just because it's that good. All right, so that is it. Those are my favorite single coil high-end RDA'S of 2018. Once again, just add the Maverick and the SKFALL on there. Those reviews will be posted beginning of 2019. We're gonna start off the new year with a fucking bang. Trust me, the amount of gear we have. Nobody agrees on what the best single coils are ever. Like high-end single coil people were the fucking worst. Like not even like me and Fictitious and we or Louis or any of those guys can agree on the top 3. It's just one of those things where there is no right answer. So if you would be so kind to share your top 3 or top 5, drop a comment down below. For everybody else, I hope you had a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, or whatever it is that you do around the holiday season. And around here, with all of these beautiful high-end single coil RDA'S that I love so much for many, many reasons, it is definitely all love. So on that note, I will see you guys very shortly with some just insanely badass gear, and 2019 is gonna kick fucking ass. Thank you guys so much for just, it's awesome. 10 months, channel's been up, 10 months. It went up in February, and it's way more than I ever thought, and it's only because of you guys, and of course the help of Marjorie, and you know, there's a lot of moving parts to this channel. So I'm very grateful, I'm very humbled, I'm very thankful that you guys keep tuning in, and fucking A, man, let's roll this thing in 2019.